Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week we bring you an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and all the behind-the-scenes stories that made it happen. My name is Mitchell Mell, Chief Consultant of Services of Paramount, and with me is my life partner Brandon Hobbs, former Head of Resources Management. How are those resources being managed today, Brandon?
Well, today, my protege...
Oh.
is managing them, pretty thoroughly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He trained under me for about 25 years.
I know.
And when I say trained under me, I mean he trained under me.
Always got to talk about your protege, huh?
Hey, well, listen,
you didn't spend enough time with him for 25 years that you need to.
Come on, we're not going to do this on the podcast. We did this yesterday. I thought we were over this.
You just keep having him over in the pool.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Not invite anyone over in the pool?
We have the
That's
pool
why it's
for
there.
Large get-togethers, not one-on-one rendezvous at 2 a.m.
It's not a rendezvous. It's not a rendezvous. We were training. We're training for a swim meet.
Uh-huh. Is that what you call it?
Yes, that's what it is.
Uh-huh.
And part of that is one person needs to have their head above the water, and the other person needs to be under the water for minutes at a time. It's just how it works. I know it looks weird, but
you realize that you pulled the same trick on me. Not trick, but you did the same thing. Oh, you gotta hold your breath for 2 minutes, because what if something's stuck in there for more than 2 minutes? Right? Right? We all know where that leads.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Look, you might think that I'm asleep, but you know where the window is. You know that
You're
it
woke.
overlooks the pool.
Uh-huh.
You know that I know.
Look, we need a little spice. Come on. It's
25
been
years.
50 years. Come on.
So, Starbucks has been selling these matcha scones recently.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's as good as it sounds. Now, I know
I
that...
don't know how good it does sound.
Do you not like... do you not like matcha?
Hey, well, matcha, I mean, when you say matcha, I mean, it's like foam matcha and like sugar, right?
It's pretty much... It's mecha matcha.
You like that.
Oh, I really do. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's not somebody in the back with, a pestle and matcha powder, harvested from the authentic fields. But
well, is it savory?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a scone, right? And you know that scones can be quite dense.
Yeah, sure.
It's not a light pastry by any means.
I can't imagine the flavor really, because the only matcha stuff I've ever had is, like the Kit Kats or the ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, those are more Kit Kat or ice cream. I think that this scone is pretty equal parts matcha.
It's half bread, half green tea.
Scones are not bread.
What do you mean scones aren't bread?
It's a pastry. Is a cupcake bread to you?
Okay, look, a scone is significantly more bread than a cupcake is.
No.
You can put meat or eggs on a scone.
You can put anything on anything.
I guess.
Right? I don't know. It's...
Whatever.
Point is, it's pretty good. And yes, you go to a tea place, they put matcha in the thing, they rotate the cup, you rotate the cup. You have that matcha. It's like somebody, shoving something thick down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to ever really get that from anything but the real thing, but it approximates.
Well, I'm happy you're happy. That's
Thank
good.
you.
I'm glad for you.
Thank you.
Listen. I had a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a crisis the other day.
On how many Earths was this crisis?
Infinite. On every Earth, I'm having this crisis.
I see.
You ever watch like an old Idol music video and you realize like, wow, these girls are like 35 now?
Is this Ice Pastel?
No, not Ice Pastel. No, I was watching old like AKB48 stuff.
Okay, one day, they will be 48.
They will be. Well, I mean, they won't be in the group anymore. But
wait, is
yeah,
that group still grouping? Are they still doing their thing?
Well, yeah. So the way it works, I know you're not like very up on the Idol thing, but
No.
The way it works is the group always exists in name, but they kick out the old ones and it like inaugurate new ones.
They pass the mantle.
Yes, so to speak. And when they kick them out, they have like graduations.
Yes,
or whatever.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they televised them somewhere.
I think it's kind of like Saw. You ever see the movie Saw?
Yeah.
They live stream somebody's
somebody's death. This time they're just live streaming their career death.
Yes.
No, I think a lot of those girls actually end up going on to solo careers, and some of them end up fairly successful, I think. I don't really know. I'm not the biggest fan.
I know some of them end up successful in the personal massage business.
You know that for a fact?
Yeah, I know that for a fact.
just getting a hand job. Hey, wait, didn't you used to be an AKB48?
It's actually something I say to Japanese women apropos of nothing.
That's actually kind of a funny idea. Halfway through a date, you just kind of do a double take, and you're like, "Wait a minute,
aren't you an idol?
Are you an idol?"
Now, what I want to know is why do so many Japanese idols play with the devil's hands?
All right, not bad. It took me a minute. But I have nowhere to go with that, so
that's okay.
It was good enough for you.
I'm just happy to get it out into the world,
Yeah. Have you have you heard of Dungeon Synth?
Only from you. Is this a Kingsfield vibe?
Yes, it is actually.
Okay.
I'm glad you're following the plot here.
Of course.
Yeah, I went to a Kingsfield video and someone said look up Dungeon Synth. And apparently it's something that's been around since the 90s.
Wow. So without the vestigial element of a video game dungeon overlaid on top of the music, what makes something Dungeon Synth?
It's so first of all, I want to say obviously it's like this very wide echoey sort of synth sound. And I think it takes a lot of inspiration from like metal, but like black metal, like European sort of black metal.
Yeah.
And it's like chord progressions and or whatever. Because you can listen to that and then listen to like some 2000s shit like Swedish metal band, and they sound kind of the same. So I think that's kind of what defines it. That wide sweeping synth combined with that sound.
Okay.
Or that sort of progression, yeah. It's interesting. And apparently it went nowhere.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate, but is it something that you can pretty actively engage with, or is it more of a background type of thing?
It depends on who you listen to, I guess. Some of it is pretty backgroundy, but I mean, it does sound vaguely like video game music. I'm not gonna lie.
Would you say it's chip tune adjacent?
Definitely not. No,
That's
no.
good.
It's not chip tune. No, I mean, like it is interesting, obviously depending on who you listen to. It's interesting to listen to. I will say that. But it does sound like if someone walked in on you listening to it, they'd be like, "Oh, what Demon Souls is that from?" You know?
I buy that. Do you think it's Dale Tune adjacent?
Oh, the what?
Dale Tune adjacent?
Dale Tune?
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. I loop back around and I'm like, what about Chip? Oh.
Oh boy. You ever feel like a mother bird sometimes?
Like I spit food into my baby's mouth?
Well, more like you have a joke and you just push it out of the nest onto the world and then it's its own business.
And then abandon it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you just did with the devil's hands.
That's right. I accept no responsibility for this beyond creating it. I'm done, and I'll see you.
So, never mind. I'm not gonna.
No, go ahead.
I'm not gonna go there.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not. We're not.
Push
We're
it
not
out
gonna.
the nest.
Our deal with Ben Shapiro isn't signed yet, so.
It's true. I know. Our Readier fans. If there's one thing that fans of Star Trek and mild-mannered racism really approve of, it's Ben Shapiro.
I don't think even racists like Ben Shapiro.
Does anybody like Ben Shapiro?
Unfortunately, it seems like they do.
Now, I think that if I had to choose one quality that scales proportionately with one's like of Ben Shapiro, it would be how smart you consider yourself.
That's not a bad idea.
Right, which is, of course, a separate characteristic from how smart you are.
Right.
But
right.
You're, that self-image. Yeah. I know a guy who... He's a guy. I know a guy who considers himself very smart because he's able to recite old Roman history facts.
Oh, God.
Right. And this is something I've long noticed, but never really put into words until meeting this guy. And it's that rote and memorization is considered a substitute for intelligence in a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hammered into you at school, too.
Right,
you know?
Right. And just to say, oh yeah, I went and I know these facts about, in this case, history. Wow, you must be really smart. And
but if you take that and apply it to like fiction, then it's considered a replacement for a personality too. Like if you can recite who like Greedo's grandfather was.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot wrong with rote memorization. I agree.
Yeah, it's a almost pointless endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I mean, obviously, there's things that you need to like language you need to memorize like that, and
but
mathematical equations, maybe stuff like that.
I think there's a difference between learning something and memorizing it. Not just with language, but certainly with language, but also in terms of history and stuff. Do you know these things about history because you have an understanding of that time period?
You're right, yeah.
And you can kind of analyze it, logically piece together the timeline based on what you know? Or are you just picking out sparse, unrelated facts and memorizing them?
Because then it's also like, they say that the point of studying history is to be able to apply it to the modern day, you know?
Right.
So can you do that, you know?
How critically are you thinking? Are you thinking at all?
Right. And so, you know, my thought is if you're going to rote memorize anything, it might as well just be Shakespeare. You know what I mean?
Right. Because then you could...
Because at least then people will kind of like you. They'll be like, oh, he's kind of cultured, you know?
It's also entertaining.
That's it. It's entertaining.
Whereas
you can go out to the bars and be like,
here's my soliloquy.
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Desperately clinging on to some kind of fucking Shakespeare in my brain here.
Oh, I that part of my brain died long ago. I think it was the left half. It's just dead.
It's just gone.
It's gone.
That explains the quality of this podcast.
Hell yeah. All I have left in my brain is room for baseball statistics.
Now, did you memorize those or did you learn them?
I actually predicted them, and my predictions fell in line with reality.
You retroactively predicted them?
Yeah. Can you tell me the difference of FIP and WFIP?
FIP and WFIP.
FIP and WFIP.
You know I can't.
Okay. Do you know what WAR stands for?
I don't. What is that good for?
Not much, but WAR is actually good for a lot of things. I don't know why I said that, but it's a baseball statistic, but it's something you can apply in basically any area of life.
Okay, I just want to say I think we've been through this like 3 times and I never remember it.
Then that's a good reason to go through it again.
In fact, I think we've been through it on this podcast before.
Well,
but go ahead.
So WAR stands for wins above replacement.
Yep.
And what that means is how much better than the average is, in this case, a player. But if you apply it to other things, well, how much better is it than the average case? Because if you...
Okay, can I ask you what Yogi Bear's WAR rating would be?
Well, is he with Boo Boo or not?
Sans Boo Boo.
Sans Boo Boo? Jesus. I think he would actually have a negative WAR rating. He would gain you more losses than the average player.
Smarter than the average bear, not better than the average player.
A cursed existence, if there ever was one.
Anyway, please continue.
But thinking about things in life in their WAR value, like how much better is this than my average choice, is a pretty good way to navigate the twists and turns of this weird thing we call life.
Can you give the ensigns a concrete example?
No.
Oh, okay.
That
sounds convincing.
Yeah. But never watched the film Moneyball.
I did already, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so bad. I was listening to a podcast, which I never recommend anybody do, but I was listening to a podcast, and this guy, the host, was like, oh yeah, The Big Short and Moneyball, my 2 favorite movies. And
Oof.
I hit pause on the podcast and just put my head in my hands, like, do I continue this? What am I doing? Like, this is the person I'm getting information from?
What was your problem with Moneyball again?
It was just, as a film, poorly constructed. I think it had too much of a focus on the schmaltzy, prototypical sports story of, like, oh, the big game and, things like that. I don't think it, for its content, I don't think it paid enough tribute to the, I don't know, boring minutia of baseball statistics, which would have been nice. And
you're just autistic.
Well, I mean, putting that aside, let's say that, okay, we have to make a movie that people want to see, that has to make its money back. We can't just have statistics for 90 minutes. Fine. But that doesn't mean you have to sink to the most rote sports film cliches. Which,
yeah, no, I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, and at that point...
It definitely did do that.
The movie just had nothing going for it, because I could watch Air Bud and get the same experience.
You know, when I saw the title of that movie on the the billboard for the movie theater, driving down the road, I initially thought that it was an adaptation of Monkey Ball.
I can see why you would think that.
And we were getting a Monkey Ball movie, and I was really excited. It's like, what? How are they going to do a Monkey Ball movie? And then I went home and looked it up and realized that it was Moneyball, and it was about baseball, and I didn't care. But one of my ex-girlfriends made me watch it.
Was she a big baseball statistics buff?
Not statistics. In fact, actually, nothing about base. You know how women kind of like pretend to like things,
Yes.
like just in the most superficial way. That was it.
That's me with Star Trek, to be fair.
Okay, no, you can't really say that. You've seen too much of it.
Saying I've seen too much Star Trek is perhaps the most accurate statement you've ever offered on this show.
The most readier thing you could possibly say.
Yeah.
I did like The Big Short, though.
I haven't seen it, but based on that guy saying that Moneyball and The Big Short were his favorite movies, I have very low expectations.
No, I don't know. I like that guy's movies. So
Is that the same director?
no, I don't know about Moneyball, but I don't think so.
Who directed The Big Short? Martin Short?
Yeah, that's why he calls it The Big Short.
Adam McKay. Okay, let's see what else he's done.
He did the movie about Dick Cheney and the one where Leo is making that soy face.
Oh, Don't Look Up?
Yeah.
I wanted to see...
Which I haven't seen.
I wanted to see the Dick Cheney film.
I actually enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of people who don't, but...
I'm very interested in the performance. It's Christian Bale,
performance is great. Yes, oh my god, it's incredible.
I don't know. I kind of have a thing for U.S.
Dick.
presidential biopics. He's the vice president, but whatever.
Yeah. And it actually makes him sympathetic, which I don't think it was trying to do.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that makes it a better story than
Sure, yeah.
Just, oh man, this guy everybody hates? Oh man, he's terrible. It's like, I know. But
yeah.
At least give me something to think about.
That was both of those were movies that I watched on the plane, much like most movies. Which means in the past 2 years I haven't watched any movies.
The apex movie watching experience is having the pressurized cabin noises in your ear the entire time.
You get the one screen that's like dimly lit.
Yep. That's how I watched 3 Billboards.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And of course they only had the censored version, so I'm watching the censored version of it. This sound is in my ears for the entire 2 hours, and I loved it. It was great.
Never fly JAL, because for some reason they only show censored movies. Why? They're a Japanese airline. Who cares?
I was on United. They also only had censored.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The fuck? Air Canada never does that.
I'll have to fly Canada next time, just so I can hear people say fucking shit on the movie.
Say the N-word.
Yeah.
Listen, no, I only fly... genuinely, I almost exclusively fly Air Canada because I'd rather watch uncensored films than eat good food.
Yeah, I don't think you're really ever going to get good food.
Well, I think JAL has decent... And plus you get... don't they give you noodles, too? No, they give you skia.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Yoshinoya.
Yeah. That's true.
So yeah, come on.
After my one experience flying first class, I'm just ruined. It's all ruined for me. Like doing anything else.
He flies first class, everyone.
I did it once. It was perhaps the best experience of my life.
You could kind of look back and be like, ha.
I got on that plane. They served me rum and cokes perpetually for the 14 hours. You
get drinks faster, right?
Yeah, you get drinks faster. And I drafted Magic the Gathering for the 14 hours. And
that sounds amazing.
It was. I arrived sleep deprived and delirious. And it was great. I'll remember.
Was that coming or going?
My quick wits failed me. I just giggled at coming, but that was coming.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm going to make a hot take here, but if you ever have the chance, I recommend flying first class.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that opportunity to this day.
I'm waiting for the world to change.
Not even funny. Not even funny.
So I'm on the Adam McKay Wikipedia article. Do you know that they made an Anchorman 2?
Oh, I think I did somewhere in like the recesses of my mind, and I just kind of blocked it out.
So I have something potentially hilarious for you here.
Okay.
So you could click on the page. It's called Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues. And Wikipedia says, Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues is a 2013 American satirical comedy film and the sequel to the 2004 film Anchorman. After the word satirical, they have citation needed in brackets. Which is one of those Wikipedia vandalism feats that is in line with their rules, I suppose. So I thought that's pretty funny.
You know, it's definitely, if you go into like the discussions, there's definitely some autistic guy who's like, well, is it though?
All right, I have another thing to go on here. Do you know David Koechner?
I might.
You might know him as the least funny person to ever be in a movie.
Okay.
He's the he always plays, intentionally obnoxious characters. He's bald. He was on The Office.
Let me look him up.
Good luck spelling the name Koechner, and it's not spelled how you want it to be.
Oh, this guy.
Very not funny. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a performance of his.
No, never.
This fucking
never.
Anchorman 2 reminded me exists.
I'm trying to figure out what he was in that I saw him in before The Office and before Anchorman.
Well, here's his filmography.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Oh, he was in Austin Powers.
Life Without Dick? Isn't this your autobiography?
Oh, he was in Teletubbies, that's it.
What?
Oh, he was on Curb, he was on The Norm Show.
Which The Norm Show?
The Norm Show, 2000.
Oh, not A Minute with Stan Cooper?
The what?
You ever see A Minute with Stan Cooper?
I don't think so.
Wait, I might be thinking of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Which is a different show.
Is this a Norm thing?
A Minute with Stan Hooper. Yes, this is a Norm thing. Norm plays the titular Stan Hooper.
I get all this stuff mixed up.
Norm apparently had 2 sitcoms.
Yeah, he did.
Neither of which were good, which is weird.
Well, you know what it was? It was probably these fucking studio guys going in and being like, oh, it's not really funny.
Now, could it also be that Norm is just a terrible actor? Because he was?
Well, yeah, he's a bad, but that's like Jerry Seinfeld's a terrible actor. It's kind of charming.
No, I agree. You're right.
As long as everyone else is on point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else in these shows was able to carry that weight, but Seinfeld certainly surrounded himself with great comedic actors.
This guy was in 4 episodes of, and I forgot about this, 4 episodes of the 3rd season of Twin Peaks.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Did he play a, obnoxious comedic relief character?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. He was a cop or a detective or something. And you know exactly how that goes.
Yeah. I don't think this guy has ever played a role where he didn't wear a suit. That's just his skin.
Oh my god. The Naked Trucker and T-Bone Show.
What? The what and the what?
It was this garbage sketch show on Comedy Central for like 1 season. And he made this.
Do you ever feel ashamed that you remember that?
No, I'm reading his Wikipedia article.
Oh, okay.
Why the fuck would I remember that?
I don't know. As if the recesses of our mind don't contain some amount of forbidden knowledge.
The Naked Trucker and T-Bone Show. Jesus Christ.
This guy has built a career out of nothingness.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. But he wasn't on Trek.
He was not, much to our chagrin.
Right.
He could have played a silly, bumbling alien.
The one thing that Trek needed more of.
Could have gone to Weeblix's bar or whatever. Kleenex. What is his name?
His name was Neelix, and he had a restaurant, not a bar. Guinan had the bar.
Right.
okay. Well, hold on.
Yeah,
I have to
okay.
talk about fucking Voyager here.
Okay.
So
At least, I mean, it's Trek content, so.
yeah. I mean, the deeper I get, the more that I accept that Voyager is the worst thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking terrible. I watched this episode recently, which was described to me as the worst episode of Trek ever. And it wasn't, but it was the stupidest. So what happens is that one character achieves warp 10, or he breaks warp 10, which is described as having infinite velocity.
What?
And what that means, apparently, is the ability to be everywhere all at once. In every spot.
Oh, like that movie.
Right. And they're like, oh my god, if we can be everywhere, we can go home, and we can end this series before...
That's not how velocity works, does it?
I mean, I'm no Stephen Hawkeye, but I think that they are incorrect about this. But
okay.
If you're thinking, oh, that's why this episode is so stupid, well, no, hold on. So, Tom Paris, having returned from his test flight of infinite velocity, soon starts to change into a salamander monster man. And he kidnaps Janeway and takes her through Warp 10. So she too becomes a salamander monster man. And
my God.
Then the Voyager crew tracks them down, and they find on the planet where they've tracked them to 2 large salamanders. No longer men or monster men, just salamanders.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, this is the captain and Tom Paris. Let's go fix them. And then a bunch of mini salamanders pop out of a nearby hole. The 2 procreated. And
oh, God.
the mini salamanders just like scurry away. And they take the crew members back to the ship, and just in the next scene they're back to being humans. And they're talking to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, I've analyzed their DNA, and it turns out that this is actually the next stage of human evolution. Tom Paris going into infinite velocity must have made him evolve faster. And it's like, that is just not how evolution works.
What
at all.
Well, not only that, but they devolved?
Well, no, yeah, it's like, apparently the evolution is a devolution, a simpler life form capable of less. And God is it dumb.
Wow. That is beyond what I thought could ever happen in... Jesus, even new Star Trek is better than that.
And at the end, there's like this awkward conversation between Tom Paris and Janeway, where he's like, oh, I'm sorry that we became lizards and I fucked you and we made lizard babies. And Janeway says, well, sometimes it's the female of the species that initiates things. And it's like, you guys have children just off in space.
Just like hundreds of children.
Right. You can't just joke about this. You don't give a damn.
Do you think she remembered what his little gecko dick felt like?
Who knows? I don't think that's covered in the episode, but that's a good question to ask at a convention.
Maybe it's detailed in a book, like there's an explicit chapter in like some anthology about how it felt to get dick down.
I went and I looked up the Wikipedia article for this, and apparently the salamander Tom Paris was made into an action figure that came with his 3 offspring as little add-ons.
Oh my God. I need to look this up.
So, also on that Wikipedia page, apparently somebody adapted the story of this episode into a human biological science paper, and submitted it to several open source scientific journals that purport to offer peer review and publishing and such.
No.
And I think he submitted it to 10 or 12. 4 of them accepted it, and 1 of them published it.
That's unreal.
Yeah. Obviously, he was trying to expose these frauds, and frauds they were.
Frauds they were.
So that's what I've been dealing with recently. That's what I've been having.
I'm sorry.
To put up with. Like I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish Voyager. Watching TNG, watching Deep Space Nine, there are of course bad episodes, but never have I been so hopeless that the next episode would also be just terrible.
Yeah. And they say Enterprise isn't very good either, so.
Yes, they do.
So it looks like you are gonna start watching the Orville.
That's got Norm on it.
It does have Norm on it, and actually he's still in this season because they recorded all his lines before he died.
Right, they used a medium. That's the. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
I guess we should maybe do question of the week.
Can I say my favorite Norm joke before we go?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not gonna say it so much as just describe it because it's very context dependent. But he's on his show, his one of his talk shows where he has guests, and they're just kind of going rapidly through jokes. He says, "Oh, the keyboard player of the Doors died recently," and then just cuts himself off. He's like, "The curse of the Doors," and very, very funny. How I was going to describe the punchline now, because people love to see patterns and things. It's like, of course, everyone that was ever in a band is going to die at some point, no matter how temporally disconnected their deaths are.
Right.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I love that joke.
It's pretty good.
So this week's question of the week comes from somebody named Rob Charlie, who says, "Hey, Admirals, I'm a big fan of everything that you guys are doing here in your Readier Room. And I just want to point out before I continue with this question, it's nice of him to recognize that it's our Readier Room that we're letting others have access to."
Right. It's a privilege.
Right.
Not a right.
This is true. Nor is it a right, R-I-T-E, like a religious act. But
No.
But Rob says a hot topic that's been on the in the cultural zeitgeist recently. He says, "Admirals, what is a woman? Thank you for letting me into your Readier Room once again, Rob."
Ooh.
What do you think? What is a woman?
What is a woman?
So if I had to, my knowledge on the subject is to the extent of Newman, right? With that
Newman.
small O, right? Like N-E-W small O man.
N-E-W small O man.
Right. You know
what?
The store.
Oh God, no.
That is as much as I know on the subject, and to me, that would seem to imply that a woman is but a new man.
It's a new man.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when I brought this conjecture to the internet, everybody just kept quoting me and writing N-U-M-A-N without really offering anything else to the conversation.
Sure.
So I don't know, but that's my theory.
Okay. So what is it? Some kind of like transfiguration?
Oh my God, like a transmogrification?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Polymorph?
Animorph even.
Polyjuice. So there's a lot of mysticism, I think, behind this concept of woman.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone or most people just they want like a concrete definition, right?
Right.
Just so we're all starting from the same point, right? So
right, but
I would say that a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman.
Okay. Now, where does the concrete come into this?
concrete.
Well, I mean, I know that it's considered poor form to encase a woman in concrete.
It's just, it is a bit of a social faux pas.
Right. So I don't want to, bury the lead here.
Is that also being buried in concrete?
Yes, which makes it very difficult to get to.
So the woman and the lead are both in concrete.
Right.
You blundered both of them.
Right. I can't believe I've blundered my lead. But I can believe I've blundered my... Oh no, my horsey. It's a difficult question to answer. What is a woman? It's very similar to the other age-old proverb, riddle, name a woman, which is equally difficult to wrap one's head around.
Or, it's also very similar to the age-old Castlevania quote, what is a man?
Right.
You know, if a man's a miserable pile of secrets, then a woman is a miserable pile of...
I was just going to say miserable.
Well, that's usually the case.
That's what defines the human condition, really. Man, woman, we're all just miserable.
Rates of BPD are skyrocketing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that like Pokemon Diamond? What are you talking about?
Brilliant Pearl Diamond?
Yes.
Yes. Real good. That's a great one.
All right, out of the nest you go.
There's some people who say we shouldn't have given women the vote.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. They say that.
These aren't the suffragettes that I've heard about. Are you a suffragette?
I'm not a suffragette. I haven't suffered very much.
I see.
Now, those suffragettes, they suffered a lot.
Yes. And they will continue to suffer if I have my way.
Now, I think the proper gender-neutral term today would be suffrager.
I believe it's suffragette.
Suffragette?
No, I don't know how well-versed you are, how well-studied your Bowie is.
Oh, not very studied.
But he did write tale about a city of suffragettes. A bit of a wham bam thank you man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Moving on.
That's over my head. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The only thing I've ever done with Bowie is kind of jack off to him.
I mean, yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Jacking off to Bowie is it's
a rite of passage.
It's a confused adolescent rite of passage, yes.
It certainly is.
Now, do you think this is a rite of passage like a religious rite or a right, not a privilege?
You have right to pass through it. Like
right away?
Yeah.
Okay. Like when you roll to a four-way stop?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
In this case, you're allowed to jack off.
How do you feel about roundabouts?
Oh, now we're getting into city infrastructure.
Yeah, we are.
That's how far we've fallen, huh?
Well, here's the thing. I know that a lot of people don't. They roll up to a roundabout and then they just black out. They lose all presence of mind.
Yeah. No, they have a
wake
seizure
up
and
down
just...
the road.
Yeah. They're stupid. Like, people just don't know. I mean, no, the roundabouts themselves aren't stupid. The people are, obviously.
Yeah. I quite like roundabouts. I think they're sensible. But you can't go 20, like you can sit out, like set up a lawn chair in front of roundabout. You can't go 10 minutes without somebody stopping inside the damn thing.
Oh, even less than 10. I swear to God, it's like every couple minutes.
It's ridiculous.
They just have no idea. It's like these are people that like live near the roundabouts. It's like they've never seen one before.
I remember living in a place that had a freshly constructed roundabout. And
oh no!
If it wasn't in the middle of a suburban street, like a development, very low speed limit, you would be taking your life into your own hands by willingly going into that thing.
That's how I feel in roundabouts here. I mean, there's a ton of traffic, and it's like, people will treat roundabouts like they have like 3 lanes or something, and
start going the other way.
Right? Yeah. I actually have heard stories about that.
Ridiculous.
Many people doing that.
My dream, my beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy, was always to, if I'm driving home from the convenience store at 1 a.m. or something, just to hit the roundabout going the other way. Real mischief. And I could never
troublemaker.
I never had the stones to put it all together, really.
The cojones.
Right, the cajones.
Do you think China has roundabouts? Because I feel like that would be like prime, CCTV camera material. Like if you just install a roundabout in a Chinese city overnight and watch them try to deal with it.
I think
like there'd just be explosions everywhere.
They have something similar to roundabouts, but it's a square, like the very right 90-degree angles.
They call them squareabouts. Oh, squareabouts is that?
Yeah. So, to answer your question, Rob, a woman is somebody who cannot properly interface with a roundabout.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. Oof. That took a while, but really it was worth it in the end.
Right, and you denouncing our city infrastructure discussion as if it wasn't pertinent. Just
You're right. Sometimes I just can't see your guiding hand.
Right. My hand gently guides the flow of history, really.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Where's your guiding hand going right now?
Oh, baby. So if you're like Rob and you want us to answer your question, you can email us at thereadierroom@gmail.com. That's with a capital T and 2 capital R's, or you can tweet at the Readier Room or send at the Readier Room a Twitter direct message. And if you do, we'll answer your question live on our Question of the Week segment. All right. Minute 47. It is just about time to talk about TNG.
All right, I'm going to make us take a break, though.
You're falling in with a bad crowd. You take breaks.
No. Before we used to get to the Trek talk way faster, so I didn't need to.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're at the perfect junction for me to go get another drink.
Uh-huh.
That's all. I'm sorry I make you clip like 3 seconds.
Oh, 3 seconds. Little does the audience know, one of the breaks on our last episode was an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah, but we don't keep recording for that.
Don't we?
Do we?
Don't we? We do. I keep the recording running and then I edit out the part where you're gone.
Just in case something interesting happens.
Right. You gotta be... Well, also, like, let's say someone breaks in and murders me. I want the evidence on tape.
Well, I guess I'll have to take that into account next time I plan to murder you.
Right. That bi-weekly occurrence.
Oh no, are we on the Readier Room?
Your Honor, I have evidence to submit to the court. This 5-hour episode of the Readier Room that I need the jury to listen to.
In full.
For some reason, the defendant continued to finish out the episode after the murder had occurred.
They're calling it the Readier Room.
That's like a special interest story on the news of like kids huffing paint inside of a broom closet. They call it the Readier Room.
And the kids just can't stay away.
Find out how to talk to your kids about the Readier Room at 11.
Now the tragedy is that no one stays up that late.
The true tragedy Modern
All
Shakespeare.
those dead kids.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Well, I will be right back.
All
We
right.
can continue.
All right. We'll be back. And we're back. Sadly. Time to...
Yep. We almost considered not talking about Star Trek today, but unfortunately that's what we get paid for.
Would have been a good episode to skip.
It would have been, actually.
Yeah. But we watched it and, in for a penny.
In for a kilo.
That's right.
That's what they say.
Now here's
episode-
here's a question.
Oh God! All right.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Is that pound the weight measurement or the currency?
Ooh.
Right?
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm not sure. I don't think.
Or is it like someone beating you up?
Or a kind of cake.
Well, you know what? Let's look it up.
Let's look up
As if they...
let's type in etymology and struggle not to type in entomology.
Etymology.
Maybe it's on...
Yeah, it is the currency.
Ah.
The original meaning was an admonition against debt, where it meant that if one owed just 1 penny, he might as well owe a whole pound. I'm not really sure how that works.
I guess the same. To be honest, I'm not well versed in anything, but I guess that currency system used both pennies and pounds.
Mm-hmm. They also had they had hay pennies as well.
What's a hay penny?
A hay penny. It's a half a cent.
Ah, is that like a henway?
A what?
A henway.
What's that?
Is
that like an up dog?
Wait, what's up dog?
Oh, what's a henway? Shut up.
About 3 or 4 pounds.
Actually, the United States had half cents as well. I didn't know that.
That's like, $2 bill level of cursed currency.
Well, back then, a half cent got you like a bushel of hay.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What?
What does one do with a bushel of hay? Feed it to
your
one's horse?
fucking cow. Yeah.
Now that cow is the real golden goose. It gives you both milk and meat, but not
Milk and honey.
the cow of milk and honey.
I've been watching a lot of beekeeping videos recently.
I kind of went the other way on that one because I've been watching a lot of hornet nest removal videos recently.
Oh wow!
So what have you learned?
Synchronicity.
What have you learned about beekeeping?
Well, I've learned that bees are actually very docile if you let them be.
Mm-hmm.
If you let them be.
Oh.
Nothing special, really. Just watching guys like relocate beehives and stuff. It's kind of comforting.
So, I was being serious, by the way. The hornet nest removal videos are also...
That sounds terrifying.
Because the people doing it are professionals, they do it without much tension at all.
Okay.
They they remove the I don't know if it's inside a wall, they remove the paneling. It's like, here's the nest, bring in the camera really close. You can see these layers here, and I'm gonna pull this back, and look at all these fucking hornets, and time to bring in the smoke machine, and they know exactly what they're doing. It's not ever in question, so it's an easy watch.
How much do those guys make, you think?
What? Like, how many hornets do they make?
What are they, birthing hornets?
God, I wish. Actually, so one guy that I watch, he takes the nests home and kind of builds a hornet colony. And
What the fuck?
he'll put different nests in the same area and have them duke it out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So he just has hornet fights.
Right. It's more
That's
of
amazing.
it's more of like a game of civilization because they build up their nests and then inevitably there's conflict.
It is like Civilization. Oh my god, you can just sit there, get out a lawn chair, crack open a beer, and watch him go.
It's a very niche hobby. Bees, hornets,
Yeah.
insects,
Entomology.
right? Etymology too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, bees seem pretty normal. They make honey.
Is that a normal thing?
To own bees?
No, making honey.
To make honey? Well, no. Only bees can do it. That's why they're so special.
Apparently cows too, if you from 2 minutes ago is to be believed.
That's a different kind of honey.
Heyo.
You know what I mean?
Not particularly, but yes. So anyway, Transfigurations.
Transfigurations.
I almost read the title of my notes.
Oh no. The directed by Tom Benko, the great Tom Benko. I think this is his first directing role. He was an editor on like pretty much every episode before this, and this is the second episode written by Renee, who did
Zellweger?
The Offspring. I don't know how to pronounce Echevarria. Never talked to this person in my life, so. But they did The Offspring.
Which one was that?
Don't say.
No, I know it was the TNG episode, but which one was it?
Data's child.
Oh, lol. Right.
Lol.
Lol.
Yeah. So we really have an all-star team here. Well, I guess according to you, we do, because you liked that episode. What did you think?
I liked The Offspring. Yeah, I don't think that's a controversial opinion.
No, sure.
Really didn't like this episode at all. I found this to
Let's
be
unpack this.
one of the most boringest episodes in quite some time.
Yeah.
You kind of centered this episode around a guy that is, for plot reasons, devoid of personality, and
in his acting as well, completely devoid of personality.
This is true. And there's the mystery of the episode, and there is one, but it's not particularly interesting.
No. And I mean, this is like a Trek staple at this point. When they pick up a guy who's crash landed, he's a fugitive.
Right. Yes. It's never just oh, my family's looking for me, and we found your family.
Right. He has an entire planet looking to kill him.
Which is where it finally arrives, that this guy is a new stage of evolution for this species, and they're fearful of that and the ramifications it might have for their society. Like, that's not bad.
Sure.
You can imagine.
No, yeah, that actually is cool. And you know what? If they spent more time on that,
right,
instead of dicking around the Enterprise and having this guy glow around the fucking
just keeps
entire
glowing.
ship.
Yeah, he's a glowy.
Well, originally, yeah, he was actually going to be written as being part of his respective planet's sort of CIA type organization.
Unfortunately, that idea didn't pan out, but
it did not pan out. It just wasn't enough time. We were already pressed enough. Yeah, this episode is it's almost offensive in how inoffensive it is.
It feels frivolous.
Yeah. Well, it's annoying too because it opens up like, okay, we're on a mission to chart some unexplored region of space. So you start the episode thinking, okay, it's going to be a low key kind of exploration type thing, which is all right. We haven't had one of those in a while. And then we're treated to just half the episode, probably more, devoted to Mark just not acting.
Yeah, and not given an opportunity to act with this script.
I suppose, yeah.
I just don't put too much of the blame on him because the problems of the episode
I guess, yeah.
are,
It's like, what can you do with it?
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
they're deeper than the performance. Not that the performance was good, but they're deeper than that.
Yeah.
The episode opens amusingly, I would say. I like this Worf Geordi scene.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got one of my favorite lines in the entire series. It's got two, actually. Well, actually, no, one of them comes later, but Worf says to Geordi, "I have much to teach you about women," which is
yes. I wrote that down too.
a very, very funny line. I used a sample of that in a track one time. And,
Oh, did you?
I did. There was I made this one song where the the idea was taking these samples of Data and Worf as if they were having some kind of romantic encounter.
I mean, I must have listened to this at some point, but I don't remember it.
It was maybe like a year and a half ago.
You'll have to send it to me.
Yeah, but because of that, I have an affinity for that line. Then there's another one later on related to Synthahol, which is also quite funny, but it has no bearing. It does open funny,
but
it has no bearing on the episode at all.
Yeah, not really. You know, this starts out, you think, oh, it's going to be a Geordi episode. I haven't had one of those in a while.
Nope.
I do want to note that we're supposed to believe that Christy Henshaw is into him now.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why anybody would be in the Geordi at all.
Well, because I mean, this is particularly egregious because she's the one who rejected him on the holodeck.
Yeah, I thought that was the same actress.
Yeah. What is this?
Maybe she's just playing hard to get.
Maybe she is. Maybe she realized. Oh, the chief engineer on the most important ship in the entire fleet. Maybe I should get with this guy.
She's doing some angling.
Maybe she got over her racism.
Maybe one day I can learn that power.
I like Worf's line. It is the scent that first speaks of love.
Worf's, as established, quite the romantic.
He is. I like that about him.
Yeah. Worf is, I would say an underutilized character.
Yeah. Certainly. But it makes it all the better when he is utilized.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here thinking, next week is a good episode. I cannot wait. I'm just sitting here thinking about that.
So I might as well have this discussion on the air because I don't want to talk about this episode. Do you want to do both parts of the following?
No. I was thinking that, but no, we need to milk. The less effort we can put into the show, the better. We need to milk both episodes as much as we can.
Prolong getting to another bad episode.
Yeah, and plus I think there's enough to talk about between the two. So,
all right,
I think we're good.
Right.
And it's between seasons, it's weird. I know you want to do a new intro and stuff.
I do like the new intros.
Yeah,
I got one prospective one ready to go, and I got another in the oven. Much like my buns.
One prospective bun ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah. So that they get a distress call, and
yes,
we're treated to some of the most grotesque makeup actually I've ever seen on TV.
His face,
which I was shocked they were able to air that.
Is scrubbed off. You can see his teeth through his cheek.
His brain.
Yeah.
Actually, extremely good makeup.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know who did that, but it was incredible.
All of the visuals
of
that scene are quite good. I really like the set, the painting in the background.
Yeah. It's almost a shame that it's stuck in this episode.
Very clear progression from like seasons 1 and 2, where the backdrop is just a dimly lit screen,
a shitty gradient.
Yes. And
so
this put into perspective for me how rarely Voyager ever goes to a planet. Like, so much of that show is just on the fucking ship or in a shuttle.
Wow, really?
And that
must have been like a budget thing.
It must have been, but it's so boring visually. Like, even
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine itself had a lot of varied locales, but they still took it to Bajor, different planets in the Gamma Quadrant fairly often.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Voyager, and of course TNG, they go to planets all the time. But Voyager's just stuck on that fucking ship.
Wow. You would think for a ship called the Voyager that it would actually voyage.
Yeah. Hey, weird coincidence that the ship named Voyager was the one stranded in the far reaches of the galaxy.
So, all right. So we have Dr. Crusher.
Yes, she is responsible for mending this guy. Oh, the stupid thing with Geordi. So, first of all, the Crusher's solution. Okay, this guy's critically injured. He might not survive the transport. Geordi, I need you to put this stupid plastic square on your head and sync up your heart rate with his, or whatever.
Yeah. She was using the tricorder for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they had a proper quadcorder, they could have completely foregone that.
Right. It's frustrating for a number of reasons. But it's all in service of Geordi having a connection, like a healing connection to this guy, because this guy does something to Geordi where he restores Geordi's confidence. And
he healed his virginity.
And nothing comes of this. Geordi.
Well, not nothing.
Yes, nothing.
Well, okay, nothing for the episode, but for the character, I suppose it's cute to see. I liked it.
Oh, I hated it.
Oh, I wish it was more. I wish it had more to do with the episode.
Yeah, the way it was presented initially, while
that it would, yeah.
Well, that, but also when this guy's identity and nature is still a mystery, I thought that Geordi would actually suffer adverse effects from this. Sure. Like, it kind of sets up that arc where, we see Geordi, his confidence is rising, he's doing better, and it's gonna spiral out of control, or it's gonna...
Like he'd shoot someone?
Yeah, yes. And no, that doesn't happen. He just gets the girl, and then that's it. There's no...
And then he walks up to the guy and thanks him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And at some point, maybe it's Picard or someone's like, Geordi, you seem more confident lately. And Geordi's like,
that was Riker.
Riker. And he says, yes, I do. And that's it.
Now, does this... Because I don't remember, does this have any effect on episodes going forward? Is Geordi more confident now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's bizarre. What is going on?
Right. There's no payoff for it, insofar as the story.
And it would have been nice if we spent more time on this than fucking John Doe.
Yeah.
Walking around the ship or whatever. But anyway.
I have to walk after being in a coma for a month. Oh, look, I can walk despite being in a coma for a month.
Very interesting TV.
Yeah, I fucking hated it.
Yeah. They get back to medical bay, all three of them, Crusher, Geordi, and this guy, and there's a lot of techno babble. There's a lot of like press F to stabilize Geordi's immune system type talk.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which, I think we've complained, or not complained, but observed that there's not a lot of episodes focused on the medical stuff, and I think this is why.
Yeah. You certainly realize that you're not missing out much.
It's just not interesting.
No.
Yeah. It's just a way to like medical and Star Trek is just a way to get people back in the action.
I like later series that introduce more ethical dilemma to the
that's always interesting,
right?
Yeah.
There was a number of really good Bashir episodes in Deep Space Nine. He was the Doctor. And I like Crusher as well as a character, but they rarely, if ever, play to anything interesting with her. They give
her nothing to work with.
They almost always take the ethical dilemma off of her shoulders.
Yeah.
And Picard has to make this decision. Crusher is unilaterally in support of whatever the the basic doctor opinion would be.
yeah, you're right.
And it's it always falls to Picard, which is fine, but it's something we do every episode. Oh, Picard has to make a tough decision. All right.
Right. I mean, it's also amazing that they can't even give Crusher like a proper episode with like a love interest or whatever.
Right. Except
Like it has to be this weird dude that's like, oh, it's totally platonic or whatever.
She's for Picard and Picard only. But
yeah.
but only when he wants her.
BPC. Made for BPC. Yeah. No, but like, and I couldn't tell if we were supposed to get the feeling that Picard was frustrated by her affection for him.
I never got that sense.
Because sometimes, I mean, not that Picard walking around looking grumpy is a new thing, but sometimes he would have reactions this episode that made it seem like we were supposed to be thinking that maybe. I don't know.
Like when he just started punching the wall every time Crusher talked to John Doe.
He just sends John Doe to die. Yeah, anyway, whatever. So she's working on this guy. Crusher's working on this guy with her team, trying to regenerate his body and stuff and all that crap. And he's still in a coma.
And there's no tension in this, by the way. It's not.
No, not at all, because we know what's going to happen.
Well, I don't even think the characters
Right.
try to think of it as a tense moment. It's always just, all right, this is going to take time, but he's going to make it. Because he's got self-regenerative cells or whatever. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, he's got some like weird mutation or whatever. And we are bounced back to Geordi. Geordi, the new man, Geordi.
Right.
Not the Newman. Newman. he is a new man. He is confident. He's at 10-4 with Worf and Data.
Which is an all-star squad. If I could go bar hopping with anybody, it would be Data, Worf, and I guess Geordi.
And he's trying to figure out this like little trinket that they picked up from the shuttle, right?
Yes, it's like a blue bulb.
Yeah, it's a very uninspiring prop, and we get the genesis really of probably one of our most popular lines off camera here.
Yes.
Right? Which you alluded to earlier.
This is some set culture.
Yeah. Worf gets angry at Geordi trying to figure this thing out, and he says, "Less talk, more synthahol." Right?
Memories.
And after this became a very common phrase. It was used by the cast and crew at social functions, usually to signal that we were about to go molest the young interns. And many a bar fight was started by two people calling synthahol at the same time, which I think is probably the best thing that came of that.
Quite rowdy. You ever hear that old song, a little less conversation, a little more synthahol?
Rev up those Star Trek parody videos.
What's your best Star Trek song parody title or concept?
Come on, you can't ask me that on the spot. That's something I have to sit back and take like 6 hours out of my day to figure out.
Not these phasers were made for stunning.
That's terrible. Anything data centric would just be inherently funny.
Oh god. Weird Science, but same title, but all the lyrics are rewritten about Data.
So yeah, we see Geordi, man up, and he goes and talks to Christy.
And he gets access to her V.
To V, yeah.
Yeah. Is how I would describe that.
And Worf has another very funny line here where he turns to Data and says, "I've been tutoring him. He's a very fast learner."
It's very good. I find the idea of Worf talking and Data having a conversation to be intrinsically funny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
We don't get a lot of that.
not nearly enough.
Definitely not.
Worf and Geordi, otherwise known as Wardy.
Warty. Only a handful of fics have been made about that. Damn shame. Damn shame.
But most of them do focus on this tutelage. Oh boy.
I've been training him. Come on, Worf.
Worf's a harsh teacher.
I have a friend who can do an amazing Geordi impression, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, because Geordi doesn't really have the distinctiveness that you would imagine, of a Worf
But
or
it's
a Data.
right, and that's what makes him so difficult.
Like,
But yeah,
your
I
friend
know
nails
a
it?
guy. Yeah, I don't know how. I know a guy who can do it perfectly. It's so good, and it's even better than like the more obvious stuff because it's so
Right.
nuanced, right?
Yeah.
So just saying things is Geordi is the funniest thing ever.
Anybody can put in a few awkward pauses and purport to be doing a Data impression.
Yeah, sure, or do the captain,
Yes.
kind of bullshit. But yeah, Geordi's a treat. Yeah, so he takes the girl who was previously not interested in him but is now suddenly to the where does he take her?
I don't know, his quarters? I don't think they go on camera.
No. Well, not on camera, but they go to like the Arba whatever.
Arboretum?
I don't even know what is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that like. I've never been in a position where I've needed to reference.
The Arboretum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
now you have, and you fucking blew it.
Yeah, you know what? I better just go shoot myself. All the ensigns are gonna know I'm retarded. So we jump back to Crusher. We jump back to Crusher, still working on this guy, and we actually get a little bit of a plot hole right here.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed this. Crusher inexplicably knows John Doe's name before he's able to tell her.
Right.
Right.
I don't know if this was an issue that came about because of script rewrites or what, but in the final version, certainly a plot hole.
Yeah, I think they were going to ADR it in, the guys in editing, but whatever happened to that is still a mystery to me. I'm not really sure, and I was never really able to ask Tom. On that note, though, we did get a lot of mail, and I'm sure you remember this, that John Doe wasn't sci-fi enough.
Oh,
the name, yeah.
You can't have an alien named John, and it's like...
Right.
Dude,
right.
How stupid can you be to think that...
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this was... And for some reason, this keeps being... Like, it's even still on the Blu-rays. For some reason, and I think this started with the TV guide, basically it's a transcription error, right? His name isn't really spelled John Doe. It's actually spelled John Doe, right?
Right.
So, unfortunately, no one ever cared to correct it, but it is an appropriately alien name. And you heard it here first.
People just need to have more faith in those making the show.
Yeah, it's like they're looking for mistakes.
Very, very critical fan base.
Like the YouTuber?
Yes, much like the YouTuber. Which is to say that the fan base numbers in the millions. If critical was a cool guy, one might describe him as critical.
As critical.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You like that?
Yeah. You're shitting yourself.
No. Oh my god, do you know how entertaining this episode of Star Trek is? I've been sitting here with a bottle cap, a plastic, pet bottle cap in my hand, just puncturing it with a nail clipper. This is more engaging intellectually to me. More intellectually stimulating than thinking about the escapades of John Doe aboard the Enterprise. Oh my god, it's so fucking boring. So eventually John Doe gets his groove back and he's up and about the ship.
John Doe gets his groove back. And not without painfully long scenes of him going through physical therapy.
Yes, I don't know if this is in service of establishing his relationship with Crusher or what.
But that doesn't go anywhere either.
No.
So.
I mean,
Might as well not even have been a thing.
There's one scene of Wesley being like, "Oh, Mom, you want to suck this guy's dick, don't ya?" And she's like, "Wesley, I do." Yeah. Just want to jump his bones.
What a bizarre conversation between a mother and a son.
Yeah, I mean, Wesley is ostensibly, 17, 16, 18 at this point, so, it's not like he's a literal child that can't comprehend his mom, dripping at the sight of a strange alien. But,
dripping. But it's also like he's at that age where he doesn't want to hear about that.
Right. Yes, that would probably be the most rewrite the scene where Crusher is maybe unintentionally gushing about John Doe and Wesley
gushing from her mouth, or
like a fruit gusher. And Wesley, he's like, "Mom, I don't want to hear it. Mom, no."
Right.
I'm gonna go eat on the holodeck, or whatever a kid would say.
On the holodeck. I'm gonna eat on the holodeck. He sits down and he's like, "I know the steak isn't real."
No, I mean, like, he takes his plate from the table and just goes to the holodeck to eat, just so he can be separated from his ovulating mother.
Ew.
Mom, you're ovulating.
They're sitting down at dinner and the screen cuts to Wesley and it's like, "Mom, you're ovulating again, aren't you?"
Now, Wes.
We're getting dangerously close to erotic fan fiction at this point, like incest fan fiction.
Erotic, incestual, fanatic fictional works.
Fanatic fiction.
All
right.
My god.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
All right, so here's where it really
gets crazy.
I don't want to say picks up, but I guess that's relatively speaking what happens. O'Brien returns from the holodeck.
He returns from like a 10-episode hiatus. Now, I wrote this in my notes because O'Brien kayaking on the holodeck is a concept repeatedly revisited in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I know.
You know, really.
I thought you'd be happy to see this.
I am happy to see this. I like the idea that O'Brien has this
likes kayaking.
Has such an unfulfilling life that he's got holoddiction, much like Barclay. Do you know what? So kayaking is one thing, but do you know what the bulk of O'Brien's holodeck time is in Deep Space Nine?
Sitting in a pub.
That's actually Voyager. But on Deep Space Nine, he repeatedly recreates historical battles to take place in and play like cowboys and Indians.
Oh my god, he looks like a LARPer.
He is a LARPer.
He looks like the kind of guy who would be like a middle manager in like a mailroom. And like on the weekends he dresses up in like, this little colonial costume that barely fits him and
recreates the Civil War.
Right, reenact the Civil War.
To me, the funniest thing And the most endearing thing, too, is that his friendship with Bashir is primarily based on the two of them going into the holodeck together and just recreating these battles. And so many times in so many episodes, they're like, oh, this weekend we're doing the Alamo, and then someone else will come over, probably Worf, because Worf's in the show at the time, and Worf's like, why would you fight in a battle that you cannot win? Deep Space Nine's great.
That's cute.
It is cute. But anyway, I was happy to see O'Brien. He hasn't quite come into his own just yet, but these are the seeds of O'Brien.
Not yet a woman.
Once we get his Asian wife, then he's truly the Miles O'Brien.
Then he's like a real character.
Yes.
My question is, how do you get injured in the holodeck?
Presumably there's fail-safes, right?
Well, it's all fake.
Well, I mean, you can, in our advanced age, you know this, you can get injured getting out of bed.
Unless the kayak came to life and gained sentience and jumped out of the holodeck and started terrorizing the Enterprise. Demon kayak.
You're talking as if that's not a concept for an episode they've used several times. Obviously, the logistics of holodecks. Oh, here's something, by the way. In every series, they name the holodeck something else. There's holodecks in TNG, holosuites in Deep Space Nine, and in Voyager, they engage in holonovels.
What about holo sours?
What about All Hallows Eve? So the logistics of the holodeck are beyond human comprehension.
So are they the same thing, though?
Well, they all operate the same way, in that you enter a digital space of things that aren't quite real. But inevitably, through some, spatial anomaly, they become real, and suddenly you have Dr. Moriarty to deal with. Or Lawrence Tierney terrorizing your ship.
And your film set.
Yeah. And your nightmares from then on out.
We need like a real like meta holodeck episode where like Moriarty gets out of the holodeck and then crawls through your TV screen.
An old white guy now.
That's the future of entertainment right there.
Cutting edge TNG.
Speaking of cutting and things that make you want to do that, let's get back to the episode.
Oh, I thought you were going to say speaking of edging.
Speaking of edging. Oh man. Oh, we could go two different ways with this now.
Yes. But I'll have you know that I've been edging since the pre-show discussion.
The Patreon pre-show.
Yes.
The subscriber only pre-show. Yes. Okay. So here we enter the crux of the episode because John Doe comes over and heals O'Brien. Right?
Yes, he gives him a glowy.
And I can't quite remember, but I seem to recall that we like there was this theme of healing in like pretty much every script, but there was going to be some other cause for it, right?
For the healing? Well,
yeah.
I don't know if there were more call-outs for it, but it was different structurally. There's no glowing.
There's no glowing.
No, it was I think they were rubbed. It was rubbing crystals? Maybe like rounded crystals?
It was the crystals. Yes,
right.
It was the crystals.
Right, because Majel was really into these crystals at the time. And how does these things even fucking work? Maybe you like place them around you while you sleep and they heal you. I don't really know, but she was like selling them to people on set, and Gene was supportive of it, so like, let's put it in the episode, maybe it'll become popular, people see it at home, it's a whole thing. But I think it was when Brent's mom died.
Yeah.
Because he had bought he bought more crystals than anybody, and
A ton.
right, because his
He
mom,
must have put tens of thousands
what
into
was it,
those.
cervical cancer?
Yeah. Yeah.
His mom had cervical cancer, and when the crystals didn't really help that, everybody kind of we pulled him out of the episode like extremely quickly.
Yeah. I mean, he tried everything too. I mean, he tried putting them up there, like nice and close.
Right. In said cervix.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, cervix was the original working title of the Tuvix episode of Voyager. Just as a strange aside. But yeah, so those crystals never really made it into the final cut. And to be honest, after the Menage a Troy episode, I'm fine paying zero homage to any of Maishel's bullshit.
Well, we have plenty to work with later on.
Unfortunately.
It's not like you could have made this episode much worse anyway.
Watch me.
In fact, this entire episode should have just had Majel running around being a fucking bitch.
It should have been a one-woman episode.
You're really into these one-man things recently.
It's avant-garde. What can I say? Like, Majel, Luxwana wakes up on the Enterprise and nobody's there, and the Enterprise is rapidly careening towards the sun, and she has to figure out how to, work the engine. And it turns out...
Isn't this literally just a Crusher episode?
No, and it turns out that the engine has its own brain that she telepathically communes with. But it turns out that she is actually trapped within Geordi's psyche, and he envisions himself as the engine of the Enterprise. And, all the while it cuts to Geordi kind of walking around the Enterprise as a zombie, because his consciousness has been sealed by some kind of entity that's now taking over him to get him to commit some kind of treachery. And when Majel solves her problem inside of Geordi, his consciousness awakens on the outside right before he's gonna rip the plasma coils out of the engine or whatever.
Right.
Right. And it's I guess that's not quite a one-woman episode, but it's getting there. This is better than what we would have had.
It's really sad that sounds like something that would have been made.
The bar is low. For sure.
But in any case, Majel ended up having nothing to do with this. Instead, John Doe just heals people by being a glowy.
Right.
He glows on them.
He gives them a glow.
He gives them a glow up.
A glow job.
A glow job. There we go. Yeah, there we go. We got there. We got there.
Sometimes you just push it out of the nest. Sometimes you iterate on it, and you get to the best place. Who, Nelly? So there's a bunch of scenes of nothing. John Doe kills Worf, and then unkills him.
Yeah. And for some reason, Crusher doesn't look at John Doe and say, "Hey, you know what? I actually did this once."
So, this is the first time that Worf is killed, but the second time is when he is spiritually killed and asks Riker to finish the job, which is an episode that exists, and every time I revisit it in my mind, I have to convince myself that it wasn't some kind of dream.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, it's the whole episode is, Worf is dying honorably, whereas if he lives his life as an invalid, well, he won't die honorably.
Right.
But a apparently ritualistic mercy-killing suicide is a core tenet of Klingon culture.
That's honorable.
Yes. Worf is the most honorable guy I know.
My best friend.
Oh, Worf. My Worf.
So there's a ship coming toward them now. Right?
How untoward.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's filled with a bunch of John Does.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet.
Right.
And
it's on an intercept course.
meanwhile, we have a series of scenes featuring John Doe just saying, "I can't explain it. I need to go somewhere. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
I don't know who I am." And then he gets angry
Right.
one time, and he's, "I'm sorry I got angry. I don't know who I am."
Right. It's like, shut the fuck up!
And then Picard says, "It's completely understandable that you got angry. I don't know who you
Yeah.
are either."
Oh, God. What a fucking load.
What a load, Strong said. What a load.
So they eventually come face to face with the ship, and we do learn that it's full of John Does.
Yes. And then John Doe, there's like some kind of tension, I guess. They're like, "Oh, if you don't give us the John Doe, we'll open fire on you." And Picard says, "Well, can't we just talk it out?" And they say no. And Picard says, "Well, I'm gonna talk anyway, and we'll end up talking it out." I fucking hate Star Trek. I hate this episode.
It's so bad.
It's terrible. It's fucking awful.
You're like a broken man at this point.
Yeah. Can you blame me?
You don't even want to talk about this episode anymore.
No, I don't want to talk about the episode. I don't want to like say these jokes. I don't want to do anything. Just,
we gotta get through it.
We've watched worse episodes, far worse episodes, but something about this is the most offensive.
Offensive, yeah.
Yes. Can't describe why, but I certainly know that I hate it. I hate it. Oh my god, and then John Doe comes on the bridge and he's wearing white and he shits himself or whatever I wrote here. Then he becomes God. Jesus.
Wait. You skipped the George Floyd tribute.
I did. Now, is this explained? Is this just the power of the John Does that they?
Yeah. The lead John Doe says, "You may not breathe anymore,"
Right.
and then they all said, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe."
Everybody gets on the floor whilst
they raise their fists up and kneel, and they start chanting, "I can't breathe."
Now, if the regular John Does have the power to sap an entire isolated space of oxygen through shields, how far are they from this ascended John Doe's power?
To be fair, it might be technology.
That's true.
You know what they say about technology and magic,
right? One is indecipherable from the other if it's sufficiently advanced, which is what they say. No
which
joke.
is something we hear every single fucking episode of the show.
Right. There's a fine line between science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah, that's why they're usually grouped together in the bookstore.
Right. The same demographic purchases them.
Yeah.
It's
There's a fine line between a sci-fi fan and a fantasy fan.
It's really just how boring you want your media to be. And I'm a purist. Once I start enjoying my sci-fi too much, I turn it off. I'm not there for that.
So that's why you've been watching all this Star Trek.
Yes. That's why I really like Voyager, because I hate it so much.
But yeah, John Doe turns into a proper glowy.
Yes, and good for him. He really earned it.
Yeah.
Baby. So where okay, so here's the thing here.
Yeah. You're on.
So he becomes a being of pure energy.
Mm-hmm.
John Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, I gotta compose myself. And there's a bit of a wardrobe change. He goes from
Yeah, a bit.
He goes from wearing the onesie to a body stocking, and because of there's a bunch of light, there's a body stocking covering the face. You can't really tell, but it's a new actor. Because nobody really wanted to wear a body stocking, so we had to go to the local newspaper and hire body stocking fetish guy.
Yeah.
And luckily he had his own body stocking, but he was the only one willing to wear it. Unfortunately, we couldn't get around the erection issue whilst filming, which is why we made the glow as strong as it was.
Yeah, it's way, you can still kind of see it.
Yeah, I mean, it was large.
And in charge.
I mean, dick like that is always going to be in charge of me. But it's, because originally there's no glow at all. It was just the, a white body stocking guy. And the idea is that, oh, it's pure white. It must be a being of pure energy.
Right.
But in this case, all right, he's glowing a lot. That's cool. Now, the problem was getting body stocking fetish guy off of the set once we finished. Because he kept wanting to show his body stockings to, everybody on the crew, the men, the women.
He was really, really excited about it. He brought a collection, actually, all different colors.
Right. He's like, whatever color you need, I have it. And we're like, okay, white will do. And he just kept changing into the other ones before finally getting into white for whatever reason.
Right.
I remember at one point he brought Will back to, not his trailer, but more like the alley behind the studio. And,
yeah. He was showing him his collection.
Will was insufferable after that. I remember just for weeks. Actually, it's called Zentai, and I was like, oh my god. Whatever, Will.
What a little shit.
Yeah. Fuck.
We did eventually have to kick him off the set, though. Not Will, the bodysuit fetishist.
Right.
For humping Marina's leg.
Yes. I remember. I think she showed up in stockings that day. Not a body stocking, but just normal.
Yeah,
stockings.
in stock. Yeah, which is enough, I guess.
Yeah. Enough.
It's the same material.
Right. The nylon.
Mm.
Now, I know nylon best for the guitar strings, but
that was one of its famous appearances.
But of course, and the episode ends, I guess.
Yeah. They have this. They have probably what could have been an actually interesting part of the episode that gets glossed over because we're out of time.
God, the exposition dump at the end here.
Oh my god, yes.
The worst thing. I think this was the moment I knew that this episode was fucking irredeemable. Because we talked earlier, we're talking now. There's elements of this idea that work. That you see them and you can imagine a good story here, and they're all just explained away in one monologue.
Mm-hmm.
As the camera pans over the faces of the characters listening and adding nothing.
Yeah, no, it's just like the epitome of terrible storytelling.
Star Trek, everybody.
Star Trek.
Trek, Star.
Yeah, and the oh god, I'm sorry. Like we talked about earlier, this could have been a proper, theme to explore for an episode. A species is evolving, and the majority doesn't want the minority to disrupt their power balance. That's interesting.
Luckily,
and this is what we get. What the fuck?
Luckily, they revisited this concept in the episode where the Voyager characters evolve into salamanders.
And then have sex with each other.
Yes, and then procreate.
Very important.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm used to it now of the missed potential inherent in a lot of these executions of TNG.
it's still just. I mean, it's always baffling because like some schmuck like you or me can look at this and be like, well, why didn't you just do anything else? Like, and I mean, we've recreated episodes on the show
Yes.
several times,
Yes.
just out of thin air, and they've been a million times better. And
Like-
and I'm not saying that because we made them. It's just
Like that Majel Geordie joint from earlier.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the gain of doing the episode this way. Like, what is the appeal? And I think might be a budget thing. This episode only has one actual location, and everything else is just kind of quietly shot on the Enterprise sets.
Yeah, it's if not a bottle episode, it's pretty close. So, but you could still do something interesting on the Enterprise. Have a delegation. I don't fucking care.
No, if you have a delegation, that's an excuse for Luxwana to show up.
Or Riker to have sex with one of them.
Yeah, that's what we need. I'm waiting for the episode where Riker has sex with that androgynous thing.
Oh God. What season is that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's pretty late, I think.
I think it's 4 actually.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta look this up now. Actually, Riker sex androgynous. Instant, the first result. This is part of season 5.
Okay.
I don't know if Riker actually has sex with it, but it probably does. Wow, Den of Geek ranked this episode as one of the top 25, quote, must-watch, end quote, episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Wow, we should fucking suicide bomb Den of Geek's office. In Minecraft.
So many times reading the Wikipedia about Star Trek, Den of Geek crops up all the time. Den of Geek says this is one of the must-watch episodes if you're gonna binge-watch Tom Paris's arc in Voyager. You know, like, who gives a shit?
Wait, Tom Paris?
Tom Paris?
You mean the salamander? The salamander who had sex with Salamander Janeway?
Yeah, if there's only one thing you retain about Voyager, please let it be that.
God knows I'll never end up watching it.
Actor Jonathan Frakes, who played Riker, also commented that the episode was not daring enough, in that Soren, who was played by Melinda Kulia, should have been more evidently male.
Ew. Oh, that was during one of his phases, wasn't it?
Is he like the moon, Jonathan Frakes? Does he have phases?
Well, he always has phases.
It's true. I do like waning Frakes the most.
Waxing Frakes.
Waxing Frakes is just what we did between shots.
It would just grow in real time, like right before our eyes.
Ah, shit, get the wax.
Hurry up, god damn it. All right, yeah, so yeah, then the episode ends very abruptly, I might add. Most episodes they kind of have this scene after the conflict is resolved where we get to see where the characters are standing emotionally. That doesn't happen
physically.
Here. Shut up. Yeah, that does not happen here because we need to devote an extra 5 minutes to John Doe. I don't know, sitting in 10 forward or something.
Now here's something. So I don't know. I feel dread nowadays when I start a sentence that way, but both Crushers, Wesley and Beverly, have had encounters with
the third kind.
I guess it would be the fourth kind at this point, but with these energy alien transcendent beings, and both of them have had a romantic tinge to them. Beverly in this episode with John Doe, and Wesley with the Traveler.
You're not wrong about that.
Do you think they'll sit at the dinner table and be like, "Oh, Mom, I also loved an alien energy being"?
Well, use the past tense, but then Wesley will go on to be molested and groomed by the Traveler,
Yeah.
so he can appear in Picard season 2.
I wonder what the outcome of that is. It's like, oh, Wesley, a long time no see, and Wesley's like, I'm a traveler now. I travel.
You could just like turn into like fucking energy and fly around. Like what a stupid. Yeah, whatever.
What if that's
I'm
how
not
they
getting
wrote
into
him in? Like they completely paint themselves into a corner with the conflict and have it how the good guys win, and then Wesley Crusher shows up and just I'll save the day. I've traveled here, and then he like
oh god,
becomes a floating orb and like rams into whoever the I don't know, the white guy antagonist is, and he like flies back and off a platform or something, and he dies, and then the timeline
the Emperor of Ice.
Yeah.
I am morbidly curious about how bad season 3 is going to be. I kind of can't wait.
We are all illegal aliens in a way.
Yeah, you just got to say that with like Patrick Stewart's old decrepit voice. We are all illegal aliens in a way.
That's like 5 times faster than he could say anything.
When I was a boy, I loved the stars.
I love 2 things in life: the stars and data.
Oh shit! Fucking hell! All right, so we have reached the end of the episode.
Oh my god, we did it!
We kind of speed ran the end.
I think this is the most my patience has ever been tried in one of these episodes, and part of it is being on the brink of the following episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the length of this episode is going to get us there any quicker, but quicker. Still, I just don't want to dwell on this for all that long.
Yeah. So
Saucerceps. I'm trying to divorce myself from my emotional state right now, but at the same time, I can't, in good faith, give it more than 1.5. What are you gonna? You're gonna say 2, aren't you?
No, I was actually gonna say 1.
Oh, well, that's fine.
But you might be more objective by saying 1.5. It's really bad. It's really bad.
It's not a good ep.
Now, I do want to close out with a quick little anecdote in that we actually had this episode in our back pocket for a while.
We did.
If you recall, we had the script floating around for, at least a year.
Which makes sense. It's got kind of those season 2 vibes.
Yeah. And that's absolutely why. And it's we were always kind of under this looming threat of having to end the show prematurely. So what we were going to do is kind of have this script with this Christ-like figure, and we'd have the Enterprise be destroyed by the Borg. John Doe would transform, and he'd send all the crew to heaven, right? Except for O'Brien, who he would send to hell, of course. And they'd have a nice little scene up in heaven, and that would be it. It would be kind of like Lost,
right? It would also be like The Sopranos, where it would cut to black at some point.
Right. Right.
For example, they would be in heaven, and they'd all be like congratulating each other on a successful trip, and they would cut in on Picard smiling, like a slow zoom, because he's with his friends and they're all together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dreamy, and then from off camera, you would hear "Hello, Jean-Luc," and it's Q's voice,
yeah.
And then it cuts to black.
Right.
Yeah. And
then 20 years later, we would end up doing a prequel about Black Riot. Oh wait, we actually did do that.
We did do that.
Oh well.
Well, really.
I guess it all worked out, didn't it?
If there's one thing I could say about this episode, is that it worked out.
You
got any trivia?
so little happened in this episode, I actually don't have anything for you, but I can read some stupid trivia if you want.
I'm in. Sock it to me.
Recorded live, Star Trek Spock vs. Q, starring Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey.
Now, is this a versus like a collaboration music track where it's billed as versus, but really they're just collaborating?
Oh God. I never want to hear John Delancey rapping.
Conversely, that's about the only thing I want to hear.
This is from ScreenRant.com.
They're like Den of Geek, these people.
Yeah, well, they're all the same now. I mean, you can't look up anything relating to any franchise anymore without getting, pages and pages of results of like these kind of stupid clickbaity like articles written by complete retards.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So here's what they say about Star Trek Spock versus Q.
Mm-hmm.
The audio novel Spock versus Q and its sequel, Spock versus Q, the sequel, pit the mischievous god against Spock himself. And the two locked intellectual and ideological horns for the first time.
Am I supposed to believe that this is at all like a compelling matchup?
The story centered around an asteroid hurtling toward Earth near the end of the 20th century, which would destroy humanity. Spock travels back in time to try and convince, by the way, that's what it says, to try and convince humanity to take the threat seriously, which prompts Q to show up, and warn him against direct involvement. Spock retaliates with an intellectual logic barrage, which ends up changing Q's mind about the value of humanity and what it could become.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. So why would Q give a shit about this to begin with? Why anything, really?
He wouldn't. He would not. Let's see what other Star Trek trivia there is.
There's none. We've used it all. Sorry, boys. No more trivia. I got a trivia for you.
Okay.
Who played Spock?
Fuck. It was...
Yes?
Leonard...
Nah, sorry, the answer we were looking for was Zachary Quinto.
Zachary Quinto, he was a big thing for a while.
He was Styler on Heroes.
Yeah, he was. I'm surprised you remember the name of the character.
I'm a big Heroes guy.
Heroes was good for a season.
Yeah, for one season.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Something about saving a cheerleader, which I know you're really into.
Saving cheerleaders?
Yeah, for marriage.
I'm a little more into killing cheerleaders.
Based? Oh, Nelly.
They get what they deserve.
At your hand. Now, who played Kirk in that? One of the Beastie Boys.
That was
right?
one of the Beastie. What? Okay, how deep does this go?
It
was
the trailer for the movie had the Sabotage.
Beastie Boys song?
Yeah. Oh, I think the film itself used the song Sabotage.
Oh.
Sabotage.
God, who was it? It's on the tip of my tongue too. Chris Pine.
That's right. Like the cone.
Like the cone.
Yeah.
Chris Pine cone.
All right. This trivia night is bumping.
Yeah, those movies fucking sucked.
I never watched them, but it was my image that they are always just like straight action movies.
Yeah.
Not really Star Trek at all.
I've probably told this story before, but I remember being in line somewhere, like right after the first one had come out, and I was listening to these guys talk about it, and they were like, yeah, one was like, yeah, dude, I went to go see Star Trek, and the other one was like, what, dude? No, Star Trek's dumb. And then the other one was like, oh, dude, no, it's not like Star Trek at all. It's fucking awesome. And I just kind of throw my hands up in the air like, I just want to fucking shoot both of you in the head.
I mean, the great move by the studio, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, they knew how to get an audience of fucking idiots.
Well, I guess so too does the current studio execs with their Trek moves.
Yeah.
where everything is just, you know, emotionally manipulative and simple.
Right. Like, remember this guy? He loved the stars.
Remember this girl? She heckin' loves science.
Remember this lovable alien? She actually incited the Black Lives Matter riots.
Remember this lovable android? He's fucking fat now.
Remember this lovable commander? His son is dead.
Who's this?
Didn't Riker and Troy have a kid and he died?
Oh, probably.
Or something like that?
Maybe.
Because no one can ever be really happy.
No, you gotta have a dark past.
Right. And a dark future.
Right.
That sounds like a Transformers movie. Transformers Dark Future.
Dark of the Future.
Remember when Tarantino was supposed to be making a Star Trek movie?
No. To be honest, I don't think I would like that.
I don't know if I would like it, but I would like to see it.
Sure, I'm curious, but I don't think that I like the way that he writes dialogue, but I don't think it really gels with my image of Star Trek.
He's a little too edgy.
Yeah, I just don't want to be entertained.
I don't want Kirk to say the N-word.
Oh god, a whole scene of teaching Data. Just teaching Data. No, I'll say no more.
It's like he becomes like that AI that was on Twitter for like a day before it started calling people the N-word.
It's actually the entire plot of the movie, that and its repercussions.
Data's just walking around the Enterprise calling everyone the N-word.
Uh-oh, Captain. Yes? It appears Data is beamed down to San Francisco.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my god, what a great idea.
Alright,
We really can come up with some
I'm back
bangers.
in. Get Tarantino on board.
Alright, let's get a treatment ready for this. We're sending that into Hollywood. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, even for an episode that inspired absolute despair and a lack of will to continue, we've capped out over 2 hours.
Great. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna be on our deathbeds one day, and as will everyone listening to this, but when that happens, I'm gonna, you know, shed a single tear, use my remaining strength to clench my hand around whoever's there attending to me, and just gasp out, I wish I had spent more time in my Readier Room. Beep.
Oh god.
All right, well, join us next week for the ultimate episode of season 3, which I hear,
or as some idiots might say, the penultimate episode,
or the Teller ultimate episode, depending on how much of an idiot you are. But as always, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors of the Readier Room. That includes Denny's, home of the Grand Slam moons over Miami, the Pep Boys, home of their 3-minute oil change, And the sponsor that I introduced last week, if you go to any of these establishments, then you can say the word Readier for 15% off of your purchase or service. Let them know that Mitch sent you, and they'll hook you up right. Until next time, please prepare yourselves for the end of Season 3. And in the interim, as always, stay Readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?